Welcome to the tutorial on how to find GHS classification information in eChemPortal. This video will explain how you can find information on chemical classifications, and in particular, how you can see chemical classifications for a specific substance in a glance, or find substances with specific hazard categorizations. eChemPortal is the global portal to information on chemical substances. It allows simultaneous searching of information from reports and datasets by chemical name and number, by chemical properties and effects, and by hazard categories, according to the GHS, the Globally Harmonized System of Classification and Labeling of Chemicals. Direct links to the full report or dataset in collections of chemical hazard and risk information prepared for government chemical programs at national, regional, and international levels are obtained. You can perform 3 different kinds of searches in eChemPortal. Search by chemical substance that can be filtered by type of information. Search by chemical property, and search by GHS classification. In this video tutorial, I will first explain how to find chemical classification information through the substance search page. Then I will talk about the search by the classification search page. To skip directly to the classification search explanation, you can click on the title below. Substance search. In order to find chemical classification information for individual substances, one way to proceed is to perform a substance search. From the home page, click on the Substance Search tab in the menu on the top. On this search page, enter the chemical reference number or name. You have the possibility to search partial names using the asterisks as a wildcard, and find in the result table all the chemicals containing the partial name. Note that you should only search on specific types of reference numbers. I am entering, for example, 50000. Next, under Sources and Type of Information, deselect all the types of information and select the GHS classification type. Automatically, all the databases linked to eChemPortal containing GHS information will be selected. As you may see, a subset of databases provides GHS classification and labeling information, independent of whether the classifications have undergone a review by a regulatory body or intergovernmental organization, or are based on self-classifications by the producers or importers. Please note that not every record in the participating database includes GHS information, as the records also include the other types of information that can be found in eChemPortal. Once you have selected the GHS classification type of information, you may narrow your search by deselecting specific databases. After clicking on the search icon, you go to the results page. On this page, a table lists all the results from the participating databases that have classification and labeling information. By looking on the right of the result table, you can see whether the record has a checkbox in the GHS data column indicating that the data source has submitted structured information to eChemPortal that can be viewed and searched directly through eChemPortal. Please note that these classifications have undergone a review by a regulatory body or intergovernmental organization. Checking one, several, or all of these records allows you to continue to the classification search. On the substance search results page, you have the option to view the classification and labeling directly by clicking on the arrow on the left next to the chemical name. You also have the option to filter data. If you want to filter by partial names or numbers, you don't use asterisks. You can sort on contents within one page by clicking on the column headers. For all the results, you may access more information by clicking on the results icon next to the data source name. This will open the substance information page in the corresponding database. For example, I can access the data in HSNO CCID. This will open the relevant page in the New Zealand Hazardous Substances and New Organisms Chemical Classification Information Database in a new tab. Once you are satisfied with your search results, you may wish to download your results in a CSV or Excel format. It is possible by clicking on the icon CSV or Excel on the top. Now I will select all the results containing GHS data and I'll continue to the classification search. Classification search. An easier way to go to these results is to go directly to perform the search on the classification search page. To find and see in a glance chemical classifications for a specific substance, you can search a chemical by entering either a chemical reference number or a chemical name in the substance field. I am entering, for example, 7697 37.2 in the substance search field. Once you hit the search icon, the results are displayed in two tables. The first table result, Reviewed Harmonized Classification and Labeling displays directly all the harmonized reviewed classification and labeling information from the participating data sources, which have provided structured GHS information to eChemPortal, for example, the public classification and labeling C and L inventory according to the European Union EU CLP regulation, and the GHS classification results by the Japanese government. The classification categories, hazard symbols, and signal word labeling information are displayed. Below, a second table named Other Classification and Labeling Information displays the results from all the other data sources that don't provide structured GHS data to eChemPortal but may contain classification and labeling information for the substance, whether harmonized or self-classified. The way to find substances with a specific hazard categorization, harmonized at a regional or national level, is to search directly by classification. For this, you don't specify any substance, but you select the classification hazard category according to the Globally Harmonized System of classification and labeling of chemicals of your interest in the query block. In the GHS classification query box, click on the Add Query Block button. Then you select the classification in the list. I select, for example, acute toxicity oral 1. Then either you click on the search icon to access the information, or you can combine several query blocks to find multiple classifications. The possible query linking operators are and, not, or. I choose to add a second classification and labeling endpoint, and I select acute toxicity inhalation 1. I click on the search icon. In the result page, you will have all the chemical records having the classification and labeling relevant to your search. And in this example, that have at least acute oral 1 and inhalation 1 toxicity classifications. By clicking on the pencil icon next to the label GHS classification query, you can modify your search by changing the operator or removing or adding query blocks. Before clicking on the search icon, you may save your query by clicking on the icon Save Query. Later, you will have the possibility to reload your query without having to refill all the fields. This is possible by clicking on the icon Load Query. You can also combine the last two methods. You can specify a substance, and in the same time, select the classification of your interest in the query block. Once you hit the search icon, the results are displayed. If you click on the back arrow of your navigator, you will lose the search fields that you have already selected. To learn more about the data sources providing links to eChemPortal, you may go to Sources in eChemPortal's top menu and read a description of each data source, including the type of information it contains and the review the information has undergone. Thank you for your attention.